Hi, I'm Michael Senoff, founder and CEO of HardToFindSeminars.com. For the last 5 years, I've interviewed the world's best business and marketing minds. Now my challenge is to build the world's largest free resource for online, downloadable audio business interviews. I've learned a lot in the last 5 years, and today I'm going to show you the skills you need to survive. This is Michael Senoff with HardToFindSeminars.com and Consulting Secrets. Here's a short recording with Greg Greer. I met Greg last year at a marketing convention, and Greg has been working within the newspaper industry for over 20 years. I had made contact with him and asked him if he would do a short recording on some tips so you could obtain better advertising rates for your clients within newspapers, whether it's for national advertising, regional advertising, or local advertising. These tips that Greg shares will help you secure better rates for your clients or for yourself.
I've been in the newspaper industry for 20 years. When I left the industry, I was the vice president of circulation. I was with the Lexington Herald-Leader, which is part of Knight Ridder, which is the second largest newspaper group in the country.
What's the nature of the newspaper industry? Did it start out a long time ago where there were a lot of independents and then they just got gobbled up by the big guys?
Well, that's correct. There's still a whole lot of independents, but more and more they've been bought by different groups, or they've grouped together just so that they could better deliver the audience to different advertisers.
So the Lexington Herald, is that who you were with?
Lexington Herald-Leader, yes.
And then they're owned by Knight Ridder.
By Knight Ridder.
And they're the second largest newspaper group in the world?
In the country. I'm not sure some of the worldwide circulation of different publications are quite large. We had groups from Japan and other countries come through and visit while I was there.
How many papers does Knight Ridder control?
I think the total number is somewhere around 40.
40 papers.
Right.
And what are some of the bigger names that they own?
The San Jose Mercury News, the Philadelphia Inquirer, and Daily News are a couple of the larger papers.
Who's number one?
The largest, that would be Gannett, which owns USA Today and some other publications.
Okay, great. You say you were vice president of circulation?
That's correct.
So what does that mean? What was your main responsibility being vice president of circulation?
Well, being vice president of circulation, my main responsibility was to deliver the readership for the advertiser. We would do everything we could to keep the customers we had and grow the customer base, also to increase readership. That meant I had responsibility for the sales, service, collections, and all the backroom kind of things that go on, anything related to the customers of the newspaper.
When you say deliver readership, I want to just put it in perspective. You needed numbers to show your advertisers, because the more numbers you had, the better it was for the advertisers. So when the advertisers are paying for advertising, they're looking at cost per thousand, they're looking at readership, and they aren't going to advertise with you if you just don't have a large circulation. Is that correct?
I'll say it's partially correct. As things evolved over the years, advertisers are more savvy, and they know that, our goal was not just to give them the numbers, but was to drive their turnstiles. If they had people coming in their stores, make their cash registers ring, because it doesn't matter how nice your ad is or how many people it goes out to, but if it doesn't cause people to buy your product, you're sunk.
But over those years, how much responsibility would a typical newspaper ad rep take in getting those people into the stores? Were they more in the past just order takers, where they've got the sale, they'll slap an ad together, they don't know much about advertising or writing or headlines or anything like that? Or were they involved, or are they getting more involved today to get people into the stores so the advertisers remain?
That's a great point, because in the past, they really were more order takers. And in the last 10 years, I would say most advertising departments at your mid-sized papers, the reps really are more skilled, they're better educated, they went through training to where they understand that repeat business from an advertiser is really what they need, and they have to really go ahead and be a partner with that advertiser and look for the best places for them to place their ads, so they're getting real value from every ad that goes in.
So does Knight Ridder put their ad reps and their ad department through some good training?
Absolutely. They have new rep training, and then they have other courses. They also bring in different consultants from time to time time that will work with an ad department.
Advertising consultants?
Sure, and I think that's one of the things when you're looking at buying advertising. One of the things I would stress is to really form a relationship with a representative. And it's good to know the supervisor or manager of the department, but it's that representative that you can have a relationship with, because they're going to, in the end, be your best ally to get you great pricing.
So you can access all the resources that they've had, that Knight Ritter's invested in their training and such.
Right. My best advice would be, if you get a representative that you just can't work with, ask up the line, who else can I work with? I want to spend some money with you. Who can I work with?
So would you say today most of the larger newspapers in the metropolitan cities, these reps, I guess a lot of people have an image of a rep, some unskilled person who's out there hustling space who knows nothing about advertising. Is that true today still, or do you think it's changing?
In some places it might be true, but I'd say more so you're going to get very educated folks who had a degree in marketing or advertising, or at least have a college degree, know how to think and problem solve and help you. And along with that, you're going to have people who are getting on-the-job training and extra training through their company. Now, in the smaller newspapers where the circulation is less than 30 or 40,000 daily, or if you get into weekly situations, well, you may not get the same kind of quality.
Bring me into the ad department. You can give me an example with your Lexington paper. What did the ad department look like, and how was it structured? And the reason I ask, I want to get a psychological profile of how that ad rep is motivated, what they can and can't do before we get into the negotiating better ad rates.
Within our paper, there was an ad director who had responsibility for that whole division. Then the ad department was broken up into what we called classified advertising, which would typically handle anything that came out in a classified section, which would be your car dealers, your homes for sale, anything with real estate, items that an individual would be selling through classified ads, all your employment ads. All of those things that ran in the classified section were handled through a classified manager. Typically within that, you would have people who were both internal on the phones all day, taking orders and also calling people back, and then you had outside sales reps, and those were the ones that worked with, like, the car dealers, the realtors, and employment agencies.
All right. Now, before we move on, I want to ask you, for a paper to survive, how much income is there in classified ads compared to the display advertising? Where's the money in a newspaper? You got subscriptions and you got advertising.
Right. The typical split is probably about 2/3 to 3/4 of your revenue is through advertising.
2/3 to 3/4.
And sometimes as high as 80-85% will be advertising, and then the subscription part, depending on the size of the paper, can bring anywhere from 15 to 25%.
Now, split up the different advertising. You've got the classified and you've got display, right?
You've got classified, you've got display advertising, which is basically split between your local advertising, your special sections that are very popular with daily newspapers, and even in your weeklies, which will be around a certain theme. Maybe it's around a neighborhood or a one-county theme or an event that's going to be happening. And then you also have your national advertising, which is advertising that typically sources from outside of the local community, which might, again, be banks or auto or medical or something, prescription drugs, anything like that. They're doing a national ad campaign, and you're just one of the newspapers that they're purchasing.
Hi, it's Michael Senoff with HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching this video. You know, many of my interviews last 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, sometimes even up to 2.5 hours long. They're actual mini seminars, and you've just listened to a short sample of just one of over 117 hours of exciting, hard-hitting, mind-blowing interviews on how to make money in direct mail, advertising, copywriting. I assure you, there is not a resource anywhere on the internet or on the planet that comes close to the free information I provide at HardToFindSeminars.com. So go right now to HardToFindSeminars.com, and you'll have free access to 117 hours of audio interviews with typed word-for-word downloadable transcripts and downloadable MP3 files. Please browse some more of the videos or go right directly to HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching.